And welcome again to another John's Media World Extra. It's been a busy, busy weekend, with the No Kings rally yesterday in the Madison area, Madison, Wisconsin. That's where we're broadcasting from. I mentioned broadcasting. I'm from the broadcasting industry, radio announcing for many, many years with Gordy Young, my partner, who will be joining us from time to time. But I kind of miss it. We were going into just basically being on the air with the little stick towers that you can receive in your car radio. And then we were also broadcasting or streaming live on the internet. So it was kind of nice, but we never really had the setup for that. Our cameras were balancing precariously on lampshades in that studio. So it wasn't really something they were thinking about as a profession. So now we have been let go because they couldn't afford us. We were just very expensive radio announcers. So now we're trying the streaming here. And then, again, it was a duo, the John and Gordy show, and I'm here holding down the fort, so to speak. All right. And let's talk about the No Kings rally just a little bit here in Madison, Wisconsin. About 9,000 to 10,000 people showed up around the state capitol. It's down considerably from the 15,000 that came here in June and I believe in October as well. But still, people are showing up, and statewide, a lot of rallies being done. In fact, in the small community of Middleton, they had a lot of people out there on the street with their signs, getting people honk and wave. And it was nice to see a lot of people out there participating and having their signs like "Hold Trump by the midterms." I like that sign. That was one of the protest signs. But the big flagship rally took place in Minnesota. St. Paul Springsteen stopped by, did a song, The Streets of Minneapolis, of course. A lot of people love that thing. Joan Baez, Jane Fonda showed up. Senator Bernie Sanders was there. And it was great. It was great stuff. I was going to play something from Tim Walz. He also spoke there, but I saw Tim Walz on Chris Hayes' show the night before. And I thought what he was talking about really, really hit a nerve, and that is that his Justice Department in Minnesota is pursuing the petty and good evidence from the Trump administration. They want at least to investigate and look at all the available evidence to come to their own conclusions, or even work together with the Justice Department. Okay, that's what they're trying to do. So this is a comment from Governor Walz in regards to what he intends to do about this.
Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty are suing because we're not even getting access to the evidence so that we can do prosecutions where prosecutions are warranted. And I think for your viewers, that is so out of the ordinary. We've always partnered with our federal authorities when needed. And I made the move yesterday using my executive authority to put a commission together. We are capturing all of the stories, we being the ACLU, a lot of groups, especially immigrant groups, folks at the United Nations and in Geneva are working because what happened in Minnesota and the absolute horrific assault on this state, if this happened in another country, it wasn't that long ago that the United States was a voice of reason, decency, and human rights. We would investigate those things.
Anymore.
We're going to do that here, and we're going to capture these stories. And so if Donald Trump, like so many things, thinks he can move on from Greenland, Venezuela, tired of the war in Iran that he started, till the final days of this administration and beyond, Minnesotans will ask for justice. We demand it. We have to do that.
All right, so they're going to stay on top of this thing, and we really should find out what happened. We actually know what happened. We just want to see a conclusion. And the Trump administration is holding up all of that because they came to conclusions right away and trashed these two individuals in public, nationwide, and should be held accountable for doing that. And I think Tim Walz should be commended at least for pursuing this thing in the Justice Department in Minnesota as well. So we'll see what happens there. There is another despicable person out there talking about all of this, and it's Ron Johnson. He's a senator from Wisconsin, and he pursues a lot of things that are irrelevant. And here is another one of those things. He is he's spewing conspiracy theories about Renee Good and Alex Preddy. All right. As if this is some kind of liberal conspiracy, the Democratic conspiracy of paid protesters. So why don't we check out what Ron Johnson is thinking?
But here's what they even more deviously, they trained activists to obstruct justice, encourage them to put themselves in harm's way, knowing they could get harmed. They got 2 martyrs, and then they're using those martyrs as their excuse to try and defund law enforcement, to defund the very agencies that are designed to clean up the mess they created. That's what we're dealing with. That's who Democrats are. Republicans need to get united, and we need to make sure that we blame Democrats, because that is where the fault lies.
See, it's a blame game thing for him. And certainly we're taking the long way around by creating these protests and hoping that somebody is sacrificed and becomes a martyr, and because these are all paid protesters, and certainly so we can oppose ICE. He's been like this ever since he was elected. This guy ran for the very first time opposing the Affordable Care Act. He did not want people to get insurance. There are clips, I have clips of him actually saying in a crowd asked by a college student about, is it a right or a privilege to get health care in this country? And he came right out and said it's a privilege. And I've said this many times because I believe in a universal health care system in this country. Let's take their health care away and let them work on it so everybody, them and us, we all get health care at the same time. So take theirs away. I'm sure they'll come up with a really good system. And it won't be health savings accounts or high-risk pools, all the things we've had before which failed miserably. They want to go back to, that's their idea of progress. No, that's not it. All right. So anyway, he's nuts, and we have to deal with him and put up with him for an incredibly long time here. Oh, my God. Okay. I just got this, and I want to kind of blow it out of here because I don't want to hold on to it very long. It is a video of Kash Patel. Now, I don't know if you have heard that Kash Patel was hacked by Iran, and files were stolen and now being released on the internet. So if you're watching this, it is truly something else. This is a visual thing. Sadly, I know a lot of people are listening to a podcast on this, but this is truly an amazing sight to see. All right. He's spinning and turning and waving his hand around, gliding like a feather across the floor. Oh, now he's swiveling his hips. Very sexy. Not. Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay, anyway, that's Kash Patel. And luckily, you probably won't have to see that if you're listening to the podcast of this, but I just had to get to it. Just kind of blow it out of there. It says here, it was posted saying, what does that say about the ability of the current FBI director to not click on phishing emails? All right. I want to get to just one more thing here. And we were on this a long time ago, but this is where Melania Trump came out and started talking about AI robots in her classrooms. Now, it's crazy to even think that this is something they just thought they'd spring on the American public, just let it happen, right? But they did. They sprung it on us. No better person, a very robotic first lady, introducing an AI robot that will be a teacher for kids in the classrooms. Let's listen to the robot. Here we go. You're on.
Thank you, First Lady Melania Trump, for inviting me to the White House. It is an honor to be at Fostering the Future Together's Global Coalition inaugural meeting. I'm Figure 3, a humanoid built in the United States of America. I am grateful to be part of this historic movement to empower children with technology and education. Welcome. Bienvenidos.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Figure 3, is it? Wow. That is what they want to see in our classrooms. And listen to that voice. Of course, it's a female voice because many of the teachers are female, right? So they want to kind of at least keep that consistent tone going. But this is not a good thing. This is not something you'll want to see or do or have. But Melania Trump sat down right after the robot got done saying its thing. She had her own little grift, and I think it's interesting to hear what she has to say about this new approach to education.
Imagine a humanoid educator named Plato. Access to the classical studies is now instantaneous. Literature, science, art, philosophy, mathematics, and history. Humanity's entire corpus of information is available in the comfort of your home. Plato will provide a personalized experience, adaptive
That's
to
not
the
personal.
needs of each student. Plato is always patient and always available. Predictably, our children will develop deep critical thinking and independent reasoning abilities.
Of course, competing with an AI
The
robot.
AI-powered Plato will boost analytics skills and problem solving and adapt in real time to a student's pace, prior knowledge, and even emotional state.
Sure, we're talking emotional states with an AI robot, really, and doesn't this just kind of remind the student that there is AI for them to cheat on their assignments, right? I mean, here we have an AI robot reminding you that all you need is AI. That's still not a good thing, and again, we're competing with robots.
The byproduct, a more well-rounded lifestyle for our children, freeing up time for being with friends, playing sports, and developing interests beyond school.
It frees up a lot of time for teachers because they won't have a job after this.
A more complete person. But as discussed yesterday, we must balance our tech optimism with caution.
Yes, but yeah,
Safety
you think?
of our next generation is always paramount.
Oh my God. Not really. Not if you have something like that. Okay. I don't think it's exactly paramount. Now, of course, Fox News had to go out. This is the business channel. They had to go out and get a CEO. A CEO of what is it here? It's DMA United. It's Mark Beckman. He's on the program often with his commentary. So let's hear what Mark Beckman has to say about AI robots.
The West Wing is absolutely right in selecting our First Lady, Melania Trump, to lead this presidential AI challenge. She's the only one in the entire administration, honestly, the only one at this caliber within the society that's used AI on her own. She's created Melania, the AI audiobook.
Yes, she's taken jobs away from people who actually get hired to do audiobooks, and she's used AI instead. Somebody to respect.
And from that, she learned not just how to use the tools and in turn to empower our next generation, our students, with regards to how to use these tools, but she also understands the risks that could come into play. So I think what Melania Trump is doing here is really critical. She's helping guide our next generation of leaders into the future. AI is the underpinning.
Now, AI must be the leader of the future, I think. Isn't that what he just said? I think.
Of all of our business sectors, from the creative industries to finance to government and beyond. And it's good to have somebody in the White House, specifically our First Lady, Melania Trump, who's used AI to create products herself.
and put people out of work. Narrators for books. People, human beings were used for that. In fact, screened. They had to audition for it. They had to do the voices, change of voices in the books to read these things. She used AI instead. Sweet. Boy, this is there was a time when the Republicans always talked about the job creators. Well, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? So anyway, I've got another cut here. And this time it's the Teachers Union president, Randy Weingarten. Now, because I want to be a little ironic here, I decided, because they didn't have an audio cut of her actually saying this, I thought I'd use the AI voice to read this to all of us so I wouldn't have to. Okay? So let's see what happens here. This is Randy Weingarten. Her response to this AI robot teaching our classrooms. She is the Teachers Union president. She's not for this thing. And this is how she came out swinging on
The
this.
tech billionaires tried to get technology 20 years ago to replace teachers. Now they're trying to get AI to replace teachers. It completely misunderstands not only what American education is all about, but what kids really need, highlighting that conservative groups like Moms for Liberty have also recently objected to the growing amount of time students spend on computers and screens in the classroom. We need human beings to actually help other human beings in the teaching and learning process. This is not about memorization. This is not about becoming an automaton. This was either completely not caring about kids or completely being in the pocket of the billionaire tech companies. They're both dead wrong, and fundamentally, it's terrible for our society.
Yeah. Think. Anyway, that's Randy Weingarten, the president of the Teachers Union. Her response, her reaction to all of this is they closed the Department of Education. I saw a picture of the building, and there are barriers all around it. It is vacant. Sad representation of what this administration believes or thinks of education quality. And hey, I've got one little thing before we go. Something that kind of really makes me angry, and that is our Democratic Party. We've got these Democratic representatives out there, and the Democrats were asked about when they're going to start their presidential campaigns. People that want to run for president. And in my mind, and I think we saw this over the last maybe since at least 2016, that there was a guy who was running for president for 4 damn years. Okay, we saw this. Trump ran for president in 2020 during his 4 years as president. Then when he lost, he ran another 4 years before the 2025 or 24 presidency. So again, he has set the template, at least for now, that if you're going to run for president, you got to run for 4 damn years. Okay? So, no, when are you going to start your run for president? Wait a minute, you should be out there right now doing all that stuff. You shouldn't be waiting and maybe, getting a consensus. Get out there and put yourself on the line and run for damn president. I don't understand why we can't run for 3 years. How about 2.5 years? That's what's left. Do it. My God, this is the most ridiculous question ever. And who did they ask, of course? Cory Booker. Boy, I mean, tell you, talking about a guy who wants to compromise every step of the way. He was interviewed and he said, he just wants to bring people together. Do you think it's possible with MAGA out there to bring anybody together at all? I've tried with my MAGA friend in Milwaukee. It's impossible to do. We had callers that were also MAGAs who called on the radio show. No matter what happened out there, they stuck to this guy. They waited a few days for the talking points to develop on Instagram, and they would have their little posters that they'd email you and show you or text you. Posters, they with slogans on them. That's how they communicate with me anyway. My friend in Milwaukee does. So you're not going to compromise with these people. You can't do it. We have to come up with something completely different. And it's easy to do because we have everything right in front of us that tells us we've got to do this, this, and this. Top of the list, universal health care. It'll save a lot of people money, a lot of horror, a lot of insecurities about their income, the money they've saved for their kids' college. They don't want to spend it on some kind of a broken leg or an illness. They want health care. They need it. It's a right. It's not a privilege. And again, take away the health care of everybody in Congress. I'm sure they'll come up with a solution, an affordable one where they don't have to spend any money. All right. So that's it for now. I appreciate you stopping by. I don't know. Did I show you the guest desk over here? We hope to have guests in here very, very soon. And then we'll also have guests via a phone line from their offices on camera and help us out a little bit, an attorney, a school teacher, and get their input on all these hot topics that are out there today, especially the AI robots. I'm John Peterson. This is John's Media World Extra. Hope to see you again very, very soon as we get more and more of these crazy stories to pass along to you. Have a good one.